A polarizer filter can be used to eliminate reflections from glass or water. To use a polarizer filter, you must approximate a 34-degree angle to the reflective surface. In order to do this, simply stand at a 45-degree angle and take one step to the side. Looking through the viewfinder, adjust the polarizer until the reflection is eliminated. If the reflection is not completely eliminated, try leaning to the left and to the right. The resulting image is one in which the item of evidence is clearly visible. With daytime surveillance, it is necessary to remain out of sight, but you must still be able to obtain the necessary images. The solution is to use a telephoto lens at the longest focal length and the widest possible aperture. This allows only a tiny slice of the lens to be visible and to still obtain an image by blurring the obstruction. When taking the overhead body shot, first stand at approximately the same distance away as the camera will be over the body when mounted and lifted on the tripod. Compose the image by adjusting the focal length to fill the frame with the body. Focus the image and use 400 ISO, set the shutter speed to sync, the aperture to f/22, and the flash to full manual with wide zoom. Mount the camera on the tripod with the camera pointing downward and the legs of the tripod fully extended. Set the 10-second shutter delay and depress the shutter. Lift the tripod so that the camera is directly over the midpoint of the body and directed towards the midline. When taking the photo outdoors on a sunny day, use 100 ISO, shutter speed to 1/125th of a second, and at the same distance used to compose the image, meter the scene to determine the appropriate f-stop. The resulting photo is a great addition to the body panorama. Often, crime scenes may include areas that are lit with strong ambient light and areas in deep shadow, for example, an object under a car on a sunny day. If the scene was photographed as is, the result would be that the evidence is hidden in hard shadow. Still flash can be used to resolve this. Using 100 ISO film, meter the light part of the scene or an area of green grass that is similarly lit. Set the camera to sync and to the aperture suggested by the meter reading. Set the flash to manual mode and position it at the distance that is suggested by the calculator dial for the f-stop used. Indoors, you would have to adjust the flash to be one stop less, but being outdoors, the flash is already one stop less bright than the ambient light. The result is that the evidence is clearly visible in soft shadow. Some scenes may contain reflective surfaces or even lots of vertical surfaces which can cast shadow when using a direct flash. The resulting photo is less than desirable. The solution is to use bounce flash. First, use 400 ISO film. Set the shutter speed to sync and the flash head to manual. Estimate the flash to bounce surface to subject distance when holding the flash overhead aimed at the midpoint between you and the subject. This distance will correspond to a suggested f-stop on the calculator dial. Set the camera to 2 stops wider and take the photo. Many small scenes can benefit from this softer, diffused light. First, compose the image so the scene is narrow and long rather than wide. From the closest piece of evidence, take 2 giant steps and place a marker. Take 5 more giant steps and set up the tripod. Adjust the tripod so it is at eye level. Then tilt the head of the tripod so that the marker is just below the bottom of the field of view. Use 400 ISO film, a 50mm focal length, manual mode, and set the shutter speed to bulb. Have an assistant walk to the back center of the scene. From there, they will walk outwards, perpendicular to the midline of the scene, until they are just outside the field of view, where they will place a marker. They will repeat this for the other side. Use the measuring tape to measure the distance of the back of the scene from one marker to the other. Have this distance and use this number to refer to the calculator dial and determine the f-stop. Now that you have the f-stop, you can hyperfocal focus. Have an assistant walk from the back markers just outside the field of view towards the front of the scene, maintaining the same distance from the midline, and place a second marker to ensure the flash is always the same distance from the midline. Using a 120 guide number flash, set the flash to full manual and normal zoom. The flash operator will walk to the back of the scene in the safe zone. Standing sideways, they will hold the flash above their head and aim it 4/5 of the way to the midline. When the flash is charged and ready, they will yell, "Ready!" The camera operator will cover the viewfinder and use a dark object to cover the lens, then open the shutter. When the camera operator hears "Ready," they will lift the object covering the lens to a 90-degree angle and yell, "Go!" At that moment, the flash operator will pop the flash and the camera operator will lower the object to recover the lens. The flash operator will walk 5 paces and repeat the process, walking all the way around the scene until they reach the back of the opposite side. After the last flash, the camera operator will close the shutter. The resulting image is that of a well-lit crime scene.